And we're live. All right.
At least I think we're live.
Bob the Axeman healed. Wow.
Can you click on the other tab?
Click on the other tab. Okay.
Take a deep breath.
Bob the Axeman Hildebrand here with some wonderful folks from Wolverine Airsoft. We got one gentleman behind the lights lurking. And then Peter. Well, I was going to say, why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers in case they don't already know you?
Hey everybody, I'm Rich from Wolverine Airsoft.
God bless America. And this is Mark, who's staring off in the distance at an ad that is playing. Mark, why are you looking at that?
Because it's Samsung Galaxy app.
It's not because it's a pretty girl.
No, she's not Asian.
Get off the show. Off the show.
Is audio good? Is audio good?
Sure, you bet. Yes, I screwed up already. Milton Michael Seligson. I'm sorry, guys. All right. Anyway,
It's been a long day.
It's been a day. Anyway, we've got the great folks from Wolverine Airsoft here, including Rich. Why don't you have a heck of a sit down, Peter? We actually couldn't have Peter on the videos we filmed earlier because we had a blue screen and he's wearing blue. It's one hell of a beard, though. Very jealous. Now, the folks from Wolverine have a lot of cool new products that are coming out. I'm a big fan. I mean, you guys who are watching this probably know that I'm not an HPA player. However, I do appreciate modularity and making stuff easier for our customers. Wow, that's a tough day. So we're gonna it's like the Monday of Thursdays. Now we're gonna show you some of their product right now. In fact, why don't you show us the Hydra and the Inferno engines?
Alrighty.
These are pretty cool, and I definitely like the coloring.
You have the Inferno already in the gearbox right now.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Sometimes you got to get it like right up in there, and yeah, there you go.
Hey, there it is.
Hydra.
Look at
Yeah, fancy.
And then Inferno.
Yeah, tilt. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
nice.
I learned quickly.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Sometimes.
Now, these are obviously at two different price points, and they're set up differently. This one is a centerline nozzle. This one is for different version gearbox. Like if you want to put it in a PDR or other oddly shaped gearboxes, those are an option for you. Now, why don't you tell our viewers at least some backstory to this, because we're going to put out the video eventually. Like, how did you come up with these?
Okay, so basically working in my basement for a few years. I'm going to be honest, that's where it was.
Fair. It's fair.
You know, basically I thought there was a better way to do stuff, so I'm a mechanical engineer by training. That's my background. Worked for NASA for a couple of years, and then
yeah, don't ring a bell. No,
I never heard of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little outfit down in like
not very well funded.
Yeah, no, not well funded at all. That part's true.
Wow. Wait, let me just stop right there. What did you do for NASA?
Advanced materials and manufacturing.
Sounds fancy. All right, let's go.
Anyway, whatever. Mechanical engineering background, right? And I've also played Airsoft for going on 15 years now.
Solid.
I don't know, give or take.
Around that.
So I just I thought there was a better way to go about doing stuff. And so I hopped in and started designing stuff. I designed a whole bunch of different systems. This is actually the 5th, believe it or not. Well, the SMP. If you hand me the SMP.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This was the one that started.
This is the one that started it all right here. Ooh, blue in front of blue. Never gonna show up.
Oh man.
This was actually the 5th HPA system I designed.
Mm-hmm.
It's V5 in my files. It's got red on it.
Oh, well. It's turning into an Inferno.
It's turning into. And I finally came up with the design and was like, well, I think it's better than anything else that's out there. Maybe somebody wants to buy it. Put it out there, and people just kind of went nuts. And we had calls within the first 2 weeks, we had calls from all over the world, people asking to buy it.
Speaking of that, there's actually a gentleman here, DRCD Airsoft. Crytek is good. I have one, but SMP did.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so.
I have an SMP Crytek myself.
Well played. Well played. Peter, not to bump you out of the seat, but he has a bigger beard. So you got out.
That wins.
Yeah, that's how it goes in California. Now, the SMP was your flagship product. For those of you who don't know, it stands for single moving part. Now, the Inferno and the Hydra line are your Evolution Series SMP.
Correct.
Correct.
So the Evolution Series products, the Inferno and Hydra, they are SMP technology. It's the same patented technology that's in the SMP. It's just been updated. We kind of took everything we learned from the SMP and applied it to a new design that's a little bit more streamlined. and updated with some new features, including with the Hydra. The big thing with Hydra is it works with offset nozzles. So if you see this guy, there we go. The nozzle is above center. This is for a G&G M14, I think. So Hydra works with offset nozzles and centerline nozzles, and Inferno is just for centerline nozzles.
Now, what's interesting is that I believe the Inferno is the more affordable version. But you can actually change out the centerline nozzle with the Hydra kit. So if you get the Inferno, if you're like an entry or if you're just getting into it, you can switch it out with the non-centerline nozzle and change out what gun you're going to use that on. So it leaves you with a lot more modularity than you would expect in a system like this.
Right. So the entire system is designed to be modular, both mechanically and electronically. So this is the Hydra front end. Like you said, the Inferno front end only works with centerline nozzles, but you can, just like you did, you can buy a separate dropping stuff. Buy a Hydra front end and put it on your Inferno.
Now, the really good thing about that for you guys, our customers, is the fact that, let's say you get an Inferno and you want to be able to put that into different style airsoft guns, instead of having to buy a whole new setup, a whole new HPA setup, you can just buy that Hydra front end. And it's going to save you a lot of money, and it'll be very versatile. Now, you guys also have your Spartan unit that'll go with the entry-level Inferno.
Right.
What's great about these is, just like the modular front ends, you have modular setups, so increasing price gives you increasing abilities as far as your technology.
Right. So the electronics are modular as well as the mechanics. So like Bob was saying, the Spartan board is our sort of entry-level option, if you will. But it's really not just for entry-level players. It's for both entry-level players and anybody that puts a premium on kind of ultimate reliability versus having a few extra features. We were talking
what
about
you were showing me earlier. I love the way that you can set it up through the trigger, and it's actually really intuitive. It gives a lot of feedback, so you can figure out what you're doing.
Right. So that's it's our live fire tuning mechanism. So yeah, it's really nice. So you don't have an external FCU. You just have the wires for the battery coming out. So there's less stuff to break, and it's less expensive because you don't have as many parts. But yeah, if you start with that and decide you want to, for instance, go with the Bluetooth FCU, which we have one of here. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's actually a nice little feature.
So if you want to do that, you can upgrade the electronics as well. So it's all modular and upgradable. So if you get the basic option, you can still upgrade it with whatever you want.
And that's nice. You can start out, and as as your funds increase and as your gameplay style changes, you can change that up based on what model you're going with. And that Bluetooth FCU is really interesting because, as you were telling me earlier, you use the app on your phone, and you said it records your shots. When you change it, it's immediately recognized on the app on your phone. And even let's say cell service where your phone just gets shot, which has happened to me, you can actually manually. I know it was a poor decision. Thankfully, I don't buy expensive phones.
PLD, poor life decision.
Hashtag first world problems. But you can actually manually adjust it on the unit itself, which was very interesting.
Yes.
I didn't expect that, and that's a nice backup feature to have because technology does not go well with this face.
Yes.
Now, actually, someone was asking what guns you can fit the Hydra inside of. Now, we can say a version gearbox, but why don't we just give them examples of guns, like the M14?
Easier question would be, what guns can't you put it in?
Well, let's just rattle off the list.
Okay, so G&G M14, TM M14, P90, PDR, F2000,
the Real Sword SVD.
Real
which I'm
RS,
really happy
yes, RS
to find out about,
SVD.
actually.
Anything you could already put an SMP in, you can put a Hydra in, though you don't need the Hydra. You can just go with the Inferno. But Ares Tavor, right? It's below center. Yeah, we have we have a nozzle for that. Whole bunch of options. I mean, literally, there's not many guns out there that you can't put it in at this point. Yeah, not many.
And that's part of the versatility of it. Now, there's this question here, if you want to take a look at that real quick.
Okay, Ethan Holmes asked, okay, what's the difference? Should I pronounce it correctly?
Yeah, pronounce it correctly.
Okay.
It's probably a mistype.
Yeah, typo. Polar Star, Inferno, and SMP. So I'm going to assume, though I don't know, that you're asking about what is the difference between the Polar Star Jack, since that's the most similar. Is that a fair assumption?
I would think it's so, because the engine for like just fusion engines alone, they only fit in so many models,
Right?
Because they're made for those certain models.
Mhm.
So let's do the closest to, because there's lots of things with the Hydra that's different, obviously, because you can do offset nozzles and all that kind of stuff. Wolverine Airsoft's SMP technology is something exclusive to Wolverine Airsoft. It's a patented technology, and there's a number of reasons that's important. One, it's the most robust system on the market. You get this great big solenoid that runs everything. These things basically never die. And when I say basically, out of the thousands that we've shipped over the past year, we have had one that actually legitimately died on us. Yeah, check that bad boy out. It clears debris out of it pretty easily. You know, it can be, if you get something in it, you can clean it out. That's about the only way it ever fails, is if you get crap up in it and it plugs up. But it's easy to clean out. But also, what you get with the SMP, which stands for single moving part, SMP technology is the simplest and fewest failure points on the market. Okay, so I'm going to completely disassemble this for you and show you everything. There are 4 total seals on the functioning part of the system. So you have those 2 there, which are just static seals. They never move, so they basically almost never fail. And then you have these 2. There's 2 dynamic seals in the whole system, and 4 total, which is way less. It's actually half as many than the Jack system, which is the thing that comes closest to it. So it's overall it's a much more robust system, and that's the SMP technology, which only you can only get with the Wolverine Airsoft system. Plus, again, with the Inferno, since it's a modular system, you get the option that if you want to, you can upgrade to the off-center nozzles like the Hydra. So
I think that's the thing that I've seen that's most noticeably changed over Airsoft over the past decade, is that our customers and players are getting more and more options as time goes on. So I always think that's good to have a system, or at least a product, that gives you options, or at least more options on the market. Now, someone actually had a very good question that a lot of players who don't know the industry or haven't played very long ask as well, which is, why do they cost so much? And why don't you at least tell them like what the pricing is for each of these, just so they understand where you are.
okay, so Inferno, our basic entry-level option is Inferno Spartan Edition. Glare.
Mm-hmm.
There it is, something like that. They go for $285, and that's for the system and controls and all that kind of stuff. The SMP is which is our original product, is currently at $350. The Inferno, the premium Inferno, which comes with our fully featured electronics and all that kind of stuff, is at $365, and then Hydra is at right at $400, $399, I think is what it's at. Why do they cost so much? If you may not have caught, there are years of engineering that go into this stuff. I mean, I worked for 2 years before, more than 2 years, 3 years practically, before we even had anything on the market.
Mm-hmm.
So years of engineering time. It all comes down to the parts. This is designed by my electronics. We have a fantastic electrical engineer that designs everything. Yeah,
I just love the engineer's background.
Yeah, sorry. He's 40 years in the microelectronics design business.
Just 40?
Yeah, just 40. He's really good. So you have the best of the best people working on these things, and besides that, the quality control, the manufacturing, everything that goes into these things, it's not something.
Materials, time.
Yeah,
It's
time.
the materials, time, knowledge, and everything else
Yeah.
that goes into just developing something.
I mean,
like
the thing that you guys don't, I guess the customer never sees, is what it takes to actually make it happen. Before you even get to that, yeah, customers see it's really simple. It shouldn't be that expensive. Actually, it takes more work to make something simple.
Mhm.
It's a whole lot easier to make something really complicated and confusing. And it takes I think it was who was it now? There's some great quote. I can't even. Maybe was it Steve Jobs or somebody else? Maybe somebody on here can look it up for me. Basically, I think the quote was, "Any idiot can make something complicated, but it takes true genius to make something simple." Something like that. I don't know.
I mean, that is the fact of the matter. You're taking something not overly complicated, but very complicated, like a gearbox, and turning it into a single moving part system.
Right.
And yeah, that you both are very correct in that. A lot of folks, even with just regular AEGs or gas blowback guns, people say like, "Hey, I want blank gun, get it to the market. I want it in 6 months or something like that, and I want it to be this price." It's like things don't move as quick as that. Like a lot of times it take a year, 2, 3 years, or more to like come from a design, a prototype, and then product. So it takes a while. It takes a lot of money. A lot of our customers, or at least people in the community, just aren't aware.
Yeah.
It was Woody Guthrie who said that quote.
Woody Guthrie.
That's the one I found.
Oh.
I don't even know who that is.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
That's not the name I remember, but maybe I'm just mixing it up.
So
Woody
again,
Guthrie. Who is he?
I know Arlo Guthrie. That was some weird 60s musician.
Let's see. There was an interesting question. I understand the system and stuff, but I mean, could you get a regular hose and connect from the grip? I don't fully understand that.
Water hose?
I'm not sure.
Are you talking about a straight off the tank line, like with no reg in the way?
Yeah, Matthew Parks, get back to us about that. Let us know, like, what exactly do you mean? And if you don't mind me mentioning the new hose you guys were possibly gonna.
That's a cool little feature.
Okay, so this is one of the things that was very interesting, at least with talking with Rich and Peter from Wolverine, is that they're innovating solutions to common problems, and this is a very good example. A lot of folks that play with HPA tapped guns will sometimes let their cords dangle or drag or just get dirt in them, and that's one of the few ways that you can really screw up a HPA system. So you guys have designed a hose that actually has a filter on the bottom that's going to catch all of that debris, what I call debris, as well as other debris. I just came up with that. It's very easy to clean, and it just catches all the stuff before it becomes a problem in the system itself.
All right, so this is just a standard quick disconnect fitting that we designed, but inside, see, it has 2 halves that unscrew. Inside, you're never going to be able to see it on the camera, but
kind of see it. There's a filter
you can
there.
kind of see it there. There's a filter element built into this. So, like you said, it catches all the stuff. The filter, it's relatively easy to take apart, so you can swap the filter out if it gets plugged up, or just clean it out, whatever you need. Filters are replaceable and such.
Good question. Will the $399 model fit in the TM HK417, and can you guys ship to the UK? First of all, Airsoft GI ships all over the world now, except North Korea because they've been bad. Now, bad llama. Very much so. So will your units fit into a TM HK417?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You heard it here.
Done quite a few of them.
The shock recoil ones, because I think that might be what he's talking about.
TM HK417.
Yeah, like a standard gearbox. Yeah, I know it's going to fit in any of the TMs, no problem. But the shock recoil ones, that's what I'm wondering. Recoil shock. Oh my god!
Thank you. Apology accepted.
Time bomb.
Why don't you? Who asked that question?
Give
me a name if we can find a name.
It's going to take me a second, so just maybe keep talking. Roshan De Silva.
Roshan. Okay. Shoot me an email at tech@wolverineairsoft.com, and that way I'll know to take a look at it and look up, because, if it's the recoil shock system, I don't know offhand. I know some people have put our system in those, but I don't know whether it took like custom work to make it fit or anything. We'll have to look at it.
Black Core 224. Hey, I just want to say you all are amazing. I love the show, Airsoft GI as well. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Let's see. Let's see if there are any other questions. Okay, hello, Airsoft. Yeah, I speak Russian. Здравствуйте. I do not very good English, so sorry. No worries. I'm using Google Translate. Impressive. I thought of SMP long rifle build. Good, huh? Now, what are your thoughts, or at least have you ever played with an SMP unit in a long rifle?
For sniper or DMR.
I know you have.
DMR
I know you have.
platforms.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've
so
done
are you saying
not
you're
these,
saying
but-
just like a any long barrel gun for?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, for instance, we just built the RS SVD. That's not an SMP. That's a Hydra, but shoots fantastically.
Oh, so you guys did do a real sword. Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's why I know about
Yes.
this.
That's
Yes.
cool.
We've done quite a few of those builds. I had a Elite Force HK 417 long, the 350C version, and had that set up shop beautifully. So yeah, it works really well.
Right over there, Bob.
Uh, Baylor Collins, your beard sucks, Bob. Grow a beard. I can't grow a good beard. Discussion ended. No, seriously, I can't grow a good beard.
It's a little patchy.
No one's
in like.
I got alkali spots, so it's like I've told you the story about being on the ship. Yeah, I was on a 5-day fishing trip with my dad. I take every year, and the captain of the ship came up, was like, "Look, I don't know if the crew talked to you, but it's got to go." And I was like, it was after like a month and a half of trying, and then like an hour later, the first mate came up, was like, "Look, I don't know if the captain talked to you, but me and the crew talked, and it's got to go." I was like, so bad. So yeah, can't grow a beard. All right, let's see. More interesting. I mean, can we talk about the other product you had there that we don't have to, but if we don't, then we'll just have to have them wait till the video comes out on
Yeah,
Airsoft
probably have
Jazz
to
YouTube.
wait till the video comes out on that.
Okay, well, we have more information about new products coming out from Wolverine Airsoft, so make sure to stay tuned to our YouTube channel in the coming weeks and months. But this is really interesting. I mean, again, it's great that things are modular with your system. And actually, I'm glad you brought this out because I would like you to talk about the fact you can set up for different select fire settings.
Okay, so this is a special little demo. A lot of you probably, ooh, you can see the blue in there. See the blue in there? Yeah. Okay, so this has our Bluetooth FCU, which does lots of cool stuff, as was mentioned. You have all your independently programmable select fire modes, so you can program in different burst amounts and rates of fire for your different select fire positions. It'll save settings for you. Do all sorts of cool stuff that we can talk about if people have questions. But we set this up as a demo for some of the really cool stuff that you can do as advanced options with the Bluetooth board. So what we did was we made a custom trigger board to fit the EVO, so it actually drops in, and then with that we one of the things the Bluetooth board has on it is it has a series of modular output pins, so the input or output pins. So they're basically pins that you can program through your phone to either output or receive certain messages and function in certain ways. So for instance, you could use one of these as a very simple application to wind a box mag, right? You know, something like that. Advanced applications like we have here can do some really cool stuff. We have, with the 3 modular pins, we wired one to a second selector switch option. So if you listen, can they hear that?
Try it again.
Maybe.
You can hold it here. Why don't we hold it close to the camera and hope for the best?
Here we go. Okay.
Pretty.
Okay.
No, they're hearing it, yeah.
Okay, so we got all 3 select fire positions, and since it's the Bluetooth board, all of those are independently programmable, so you can set different burst amounts and rates of fire for each of them. So you might have noticed right now we have the 3-round burst set to 30 rounds per second, and we have full auto set to 15 rounds per second. But then we took the other 2 output pins, or input pins, as in this case, and we wired them to switches for the bolt and empty mag detection. So this gun actually has all the full features that the original gun came with. So you have your multi-state selector switch, and you have the empty mag and bolt release function.
And again, all that's programmed through the Bluetooth. That's done through the Bluetooth board. And those are advanced features. You're going to need to know what you're doing if you're going to do all that stuff. But you can do some really cool stuff with this, including some other stuff which we can't talk about yet.
Oh.
But yeah, it's really fun stuff. It's everything live updates on the screen. If you're hooked up to your phone, we were talking about this earlier. You switch your select fire state and it shows you your current settings immediately. It's instant refresh. So really cool stuff. Really cool stuff with the
change
Bluetooth.
up your setup
Yep.
on the fly while you're like getting ready for your next game or whatnot.
And interesting in the app too is you can also do a tournament lock for a couple hours, or you can even do a tournament lock and have the game organizer have the code so that they're assured that it's going to stay locked.
Right. There are two different tournament lock systems built in. One is a real simple one, just for like local games or something that they just want to lock it out for an hour or two, and you literally just hit the amount of input the amount of time. It's limited to 4 hours, so you can't lock yourself out for 3 weeks or something, because somebody would do it.
I would. Yep, definitely.
But it's limited to 4 hours. But you literally just put in the amount of time and hit lock, and it completely locks you out of the system. You can't get back into it no matter what you do for that amount of time, and then it unlocks after that. And then there's a more advanced tournament lock system that is passcode driven. So you put in the amount of time, and the organizer sets up a passcode that can be used to unlock it if you need to break out of the tournament lock before the end of the game.
Now, this is a question. This is a question that is not directly or indirectly or at all related to Wolverine. So it's going to go to Aaron. What would you say is the most accurate airsoft rifle under $200? I'm looking to buy my first from you.
What are you looking for? AEG, or like are you looking for long range? Like most accurate? Like truthfully, out of the box, I've never really seen too many problems with like G&G. And the other one that's like under 200. Above 200, this is one of them. Actually,
I was just going to say
the most accurate guns right out of the box, just because they did such a great job with like the port matching to the barrel,
and it's long range.
And it's long range
for a short gun,
for a stubby gun.
Shocking.
Yeah. But G&Gs tend to be pretty good, like right out of the box. Like there's usually never anything wrong, like nothing too like weird about them. They just tend to work, and they also are open to multitude of upgrades.
Okay. Now, I would suggest if you're going gas blowback rifle, I would highly suggest a KWA LM4. I've had a lot of good experiences with that, especially at accurate shots and long range, surprising range actually.
Yeah.
However, it's interesting that we have Wolverine SMP here because we have used DMR setups with HPA DMR setups with HPA units, and those high pressure air setups we're able to get absurd, stupid ranges.
At very high velocity.
Yeah, and it was ridiculous. Like people would wave at us, so sure that they're out of range, and then they get shot in the head because that's all we can see. I was literally relegated to a spotter with binoculars, which I never thought I would be in that position, and I was just calling out targets, and it was very effective. So it's
a fun build, by the way.
Yeah, it was such a fun build that every time we went out to games after that, like I would try and I'd like think about like saying I want that, and then Aaron would give me a nasty look and be like, "No, you don't." And if you can't see right now, he's a much bigger gentleman. So no, yeah, it's a great setup if you are looking for DMRs, if you're looking for long range builds, and it's a really good setup for quick follow up shots. I'm mostly a bolt action player, so I don't necessarily count those. However, if you are going for DMR, an HPA system is great for follow up shots. So.
And it's consistent airflow and consistent shots almost like all the way down to the bottom of the tank.
Yeah, and that's the thing you don't get with bolt action gas guns. Is like each shot is roll the dice. However, it is fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to. Actually, this is another question for Aaron. Airsoft, yeah. Can you guys do a Lone Survivor loadout and American Sniper loadout? We haven't done a loadout just like that. However, your department has made guns themed after the Lone Survivor movie. Yeah.
I mean, we could. But it's also coming down to like what we actually have available like within our company as far as like all the different players to put together like a legitimate loadout in the same of the same sort. Like, it's not hard to make the guns. It's hard to get the gear together.
Very much so. Oh, good. That's gone. Okay. Wow, I missed all of that. God dang it. Can you guys SMP or Hydra, whichever best fits, into a JG VZ61 Scorpion? Also, when does the Inferno release? That is from Airsoft Vicious and Delicious with the skull and crossed bacon.
So I'll start with the last one. Inferno is released. It is started shipping. I think we sent the first shipments out today. I'd have to check with my guys, but I'm pretty sure. So it's out. It's on its way to retailers. Scorpion. Can it be done? Yes. Do we have something that is a straight drop in? No. If you actually get on the Wolverine Airsoft Owners Group on Facebook, which I highly recommend if you want to learn about this stuff, we do all of our technical support live there. We're a very no BS company, so if somebody has a problem, we deal with it there so everybody can see the solution and learn from it. So it's a great place to go if you want to learn about how the system works and all that kind of stuff. But if you look up this, if you search for the Scorpion on there, there are several people that have done builds with them. It takes some work, but it is really kind of fun when you're done.
It's interesting you mentioned that because it's actually been not one or two, but actually 3 people that have just asked, can you SMP the GAT? And I believe you guys are going to play Airsoft this Saturday, and coincidentally, I might be playing Airsoft at Tax City South with the GAT. Can you SMP a GAT?
SMP. I thought it used an off-center nozzle. Am I off on that?
I believe it's an odd version 3, and if I remember right, I think it's just a standard AK nozzle. If not, it might be offset. But if it's offset, it's probably offset to one of the normal style of.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I need to look at one, so I don't know. Maybe you guys have one around I can take a look at.
I do.
But I think the answer is that the SMP is you'd need a Hydra. I think it uses an offset nozzle.
When I say SMP,
yes,
I'm referring to
yes.
the Inferno and Hydra.
Yes. I think you could put a Hydra in it, but we'd need to look at it a little more closely to be 100% positive.
Can the Airsoft GI Tech Shop install it?
Yeah.
Don't give me sass, give him sass. He's asking, good lord.
Yes, that's no problem.
Yeah, if you guys ever have a question on whether our techs can, will, or can be badgered into doing something, feel free to call our customer service line, which is on our website.
I don't know if you really want to badger us.
No, you don't want to badger this guy because he'll return with a lot of fire. But yeah, give our customer service line a call. They're just a hop, step, and a jump over from the tech department, and they can ask them really very easily whether or not they can make your build. And I mean, you guys are really amenable to making just about any custom build, like even if we don't have the parts, like if they tell us what parts they want, or if they have the parts, you guys have been amenable to like making it happen.
Yeah, we'll do what we can to make it happen. If it can't happen, or if we don't think it'll happen, we'll let you know beforehand. But usually, most of the builds we can get done. It just comes down to those really rare, hard to find parts sometimes where it just doesn't want to work out.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to mention there are some folks who brought in guns and they were like, hey, I need this done in 2 months, and you return with like, well, look, I mean, unless you have the parts, it's going to take me maybe 2 months to get the parts myself. So I mean,
we have access to a lot of parts, but sometimes those parts just aren't available to us, and it's really hard to just get those parts. It's lucky when we have some of those rare guns just kind of sitting up in our boneyard and like, oh, there it is.
Okay, this is funny. This is from Blackhawk TF141. Can your tech give me a shout out?
Shout out food. I don't know.
That counts. Okay, we've had a lot of people ask if we can do an American Sniper loadout and if we can do a gun from American Sniper, a custom gun.
We've already done it's actually called the Damocles. If anybody wants one built again, we can easily build it again. It just comes down to having everything available. It's a spring action sniper rifle.
What's it based on?
It's based on the ASG M40. So it's going to be a spring rifle. I mean, but the first one that I built was hitting around 700 FPS, and it was doing 300 feet plus in our back lot there. So it's one of my favorite guns so far to build. It looks really close to the M40 A5 that was used in the I think it was the A5 that was used in the movie, but it's not going to be exact. Some of the parts that are available for Airsoft as replica parts, there aren't Airsoft replicas of a lot of the parts that are on the gun that's in the movie. So it's harder to get a hold of and actually make it exact to what it looks like. But if you're talking about the sniper rifle, the bolt action, that's not a problem, and even the I think he had a M110 as well that he used in the movie. So those are relatively easy to actually replicate with airsoft parts.
Yeah, and if you guys want to get your own similar airsoft gun built off of something from American Sniper for yourselves, you can always, again, call customer service and ask to talk to the tech department about that and get it done. I assume, though, a lot of you just want to see the gun out there and see what it would look like. Harry Williams, does Airsoft GI deliver to the UK? Absolutely. Just hit that global checkout button, and it'll tell you what is legal for us to ship to you, as well as any duty, taxes, or fees you may have to pay before you buy it. And that's the important part. It really stinks when companies, not us, will ship stuff to your country. It's happened before.
I know.
I feel bad for the customers that people ship it out, and they'll get to your country, and they're like, okay, so before we can give it to you, you have to pay your customs officer $180. That's happened to me, like way before I ever worked here, and it's so infuriating. So that's why we did that up front. We want to save you guys the time and give you guys the knowledge to make an informed purchase. And also, we're not going to send anything that's illegal to ship to your country, so it'll let you know and to take those out of your cart beforehand. Phoenix and Teddy Airsoft rematch, Bob. Rematch accepted. They are out of Texas, and they actually never take off their masks on the field or off the field until the end of the day.
Oh, nice.
So I was literally waiting all day, and I was like, oh, that's what you guys look like. So, anyway. So actually, Aaron, now that we have Rich and the Wolverine Airsoft crew awkwardly sitting back and behind there, are you going to make any custom guns with the Wolverine setup?
Maybe not a Wolverine, but I'm definitely going to be... Oh, I mean a Wolverine, I'm sorry. Yes, with the Wolverine.
Yeah, screw this guy. Get out of here.
With the Hydra, I actually... I've been looking at building a SVDS for some time.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
So I want to use the Hydra in my SVDS and actually take that out to some ops and have some fun getting people from long range.
It is really fun to I gotta go back to it is ridiculous. I never thought it'd be so much fun to be like, no, there's a guy in that window. No, the wrong damn window. Okay, one up. He's out. Yeah. Oh, high five. All right, another guy right here. It's actually really cool to be the spotter, and I'm sure it's even more cool to be the shooter.
To be able to shoot that long range with an airsoft gun is just it's fun because you're like, well, that puts out a whole nother level to the game. It's like now distance is a factor. If someone's that far away and you don't know if they can hit you, now you kind of gotta worry if they have an HPA gun that can reach out and get them, or if you're well out of range. But
I think it's also fun when people are just relaxing around, and then all of a sudden Timmy takes one to the neck. It's like, oh, everyone get down! So Timmy, Timmy's down. I don't know why I picked Timmy, but it sounds funny. Milton Michael Seligson. Your shout out. Your shout out is approved. I'm sorry about screwing up the name. Bob, you're awesome. Thank you, Cloudy Airsoft. Guys laughing at me. Jeez. Okay. Let's see. As far as have you ever used yourself a DMR setup or a very long range setup? With your SMP products?
Have I ever used one? I don't generally play with them in game, just because when I'm playing, I'm usually playing Milsim events on a squad, so I'm just one of the guys.
Rifleman and all that, yeah.
But I've built quite a few of them.
I don't know what that's going to do, so
oh, that'll be fine.
Okay.
Blue screen.
Well, no, it's a pop-up bag for beer. Yes.
Hey.
Yeah, but I've built quite a few of them for other people and just to experiment with them myself. The Real Sword SVD is probably the best shooting one that I've ever put together. I think there's a few that I'd have to... I never keep them together. I always take them back apart and try something different because that's kind of my job. So it's hard to compare them all side to side. But the Real Sword is definitely a really nice shooter. The 417, when I had it together, is actually in pieces now because the trigger spring broke.
Oh,
when does the trigger spring break?
Yeah.
They
did that weird the weird trigger assembly on the 417s. It's just like the XCR. So it's apart now because I haven't gotten it back together. But it was a really nice shooter as well. But it's a good shooter to start out with. So
this is from Seraphim. Rich is lying. He used one at Black Sheep.
Well, I take great offense at that. What did I use at Black Sheep?
I don't know. That's what he's saying. So it's just
Actually, I ran like 3 different guns.
okay.
Three or four different
With them.
but none of them were a DMR.
Well, maybe he's just confusing long gun with DMR.
Okay, well, I did run. I mean, I did have a 400 millimeter barrel with a suppressor on it, but that's so I could run like 50-ish psi, and with the suppressor, it makes like no noise whatsoever. So I was sneaking around in the dark, going,
What state was that in?
not gonna say.
Okay, fair play. All right, now this is from Zane Case. Bob, if I send you guys my gas sniper, can you drop the FPS to 400? It's an interesting question because in my assumption is like my gas sniper rifles, you can't really change the FPS.
It depends on what the gas sniper rifle is and what exactly is going on. It could just be like down tuning the valve or changing out the valve sizing, changing out how much gas is actually released coming out of the mag. There's a few things that can be done, but like it's not guaranteed that it's going to work. It all depends on the type of gun in the first place.
Okay, so Zane, give our customer service line a call, or they can email. I believe it's tech@airsoftgi.com. Just let us know, what gun it is and what you would like to get done. Obviously, it's drop the FPS to 400, but just make sure to put that in the email.
Also, yeah, make sure you let us know as much about the gun as possible, so
exactly.
we can make sure we can tell you the right stuff.
Indeed. Jared O'Rourke, SVD is best. Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
All right. Bob, do you know any Houston, Texas airsoft teams? That's from Christopher Dinson. Off the top of my head, I do not know. I would say you could head to our Plano, Texas walk-in store and ask some of the guys there, because we do have team nights, or at least we do have teams that do come in on certain nights. However, Houston is pretty far from Plano, Texas. So I would suggest heading out to your local airsoft fields, or if you have a chance, head to our Plano, Texas walk-in store, because right around the corner is also D14, which is a great field, and a lot of Nielsen teams frequent that as well. Hey guys, what kind of hop-up unit, bucking, and barrel type bore versus wide bore would you recommend for a Wolverine HPA setup? That's from Alex Kovaleski.
So people use all different stuff, and anytime I get asked about hop-ups, I tell people the same thing. I have people that swear by one thing and swear that they hate something else and get really good results with what they like, and then I have other people that love the thing that the other guy hated and get really good results with it and can't get anything to work with what the other guy loved. It's there's no one magic bullet. The other thing that a lot of people don't realize is those of us that really tune these things, we don't just drop one thing in and go with it. We sit there. How about this bucking? No, that one's good. No good. No good. Try a different one. All right. Well, no. Well, it's a little better, but something's still not right. Yeah. Try a different nub. Okay. Well, no. Now it's worse. And it's a process. There's no one magic bullet that's going to fix all your problems. With that said, one thing that bucking that we recommend as a good place to start is the Mad Bull Red Shark bucking, and I saw your surprised face.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking maybe blue,
reason. But the blue can work well as well. The shark buckings are specifically designed to work with open bolt systems, which any of our S&P systems are, and that has to do with they actually have little teeth that prevent the BB from going into the chamber. So with an open bolt system, the nozzle sits back, and when it's at rest, right? So the shark buckings work well at sort of preventing double feeding, which doesn't usually happen, but sometimes if your hop-up bucking is really loose, it can happen, and it just providing sort of a good, consistent stopping place for the BB when it's loading. So,
sorry, I was making stupid faces.
I have people that flat hop them and with really good results. Personally, I've started art hopping them. If you check out the video we put up a few days ago of the Tavor, the Ares Tavor, that has the Mad Bull Red with an art hop in it, and it shoots like a dream.
Where could they find that video?
That'll be on our YouTube channel. Look for Wolverine Airsoft on YouTube. We posted it on our Facebook page as well, and I think on Instagram. Did we put on that? Yeah, we put that on Instagram as well. So check out all those pages. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us.
And also make sure to check out, Wolverine Owners Group?
The Wolverine Owners Group on Facebook. If you're interested in finding information, it really is a great group. The people on there are very supportive, very helpful, and there's a ton of information. Like I said, we don't like, a lot of people on support groups, if there's a problem with something, like sweep it under the rug and try to hide it and keep going.
if there's a problem with anything, we deal with it up front so that if it happens again, people can look it up and say, oh, this is what was happening and this is how they fixed it. So it's a really good source of information, and the people on there are fantastic.
Question again from Blackhawk TF141. Bob, where do you buy your masks? Well, I get them on airsoftgi.com, or actually more specifically, I head over to the walk-in store, which is just around the corner, and buy it there with my employee discount, which is pretty darn awesome. And yeah, you might notice I do wear the Annex MI17 or MI7, which is a really good face mask. It comes with a thermal lens, which is very important. Is it possible to SMP an AUG?
Short answer, yes. Long answer, send us an email at tech@wolverineairsoft.com and we'll give you the details. Requires a little extra work, but it's definitely possible.
Two-stage trigger.
Yes, two-stage trigger.
Mike Barrett, have you ever used a minigun in war? Now, I assume you mean airsoft. I have personally... well, I'm a farm boy. What the hell would I know about war? I've been shot at by a minigun and hid behind a tiny brick, which was surprisingly effective in tall grass. Have you guys ever been shot at by an airsoft minigun?
My first Lion Claw event, they had that little armadillo or whatever they call it.
Oh, yeah.
Twin-linked miniguns on top of it.
Oh.
Trying to cross a double-wide street, and this thing just rolls around the corner. Oh, God. I can hear it spooling up behind me. I'm just like, no!
It's like you already committed to running across the street and just brace for badness.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What about you?
I have not.
It's for the best.
I've seen them. Never been shot at by them.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, actually, we've gone a little bit over time, so I think we're going to end there because that was pretty funny. But Rich, just want to say thank you for coming on by.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Peter, who's off camera, I'm going to wave to him. Thanks for coming by in your blue shirt. Thank you guys for joining us on our live show on August 27th, 2015. Got the year right this time. Once again, I'm Bob the X-Men Hilbrand, and this has been the GITV live show. Bye-bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Let's see if I can turn this off correctly.